Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Toon Dallas. If you're new, make sure to hit that thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe. Today, we're gonna visit a local gangster's neighborhood. He was once a gangster, now a pastor. His name is Joey Perez. He ran the streets in the 1980s. He was a gang leader. He had the money, the cars, the women, all the materialistic items that anyone could ever want, except he was still unhappy. He actually has a book, a chapter book out, and I remember reading it when I was probably like 17, 18 years old. One of the only books that I can read from beginning to the end. I got immersed in the book. It was a paperback book, and normally most 17-year-olds don't complete paperback books, but I read that book and I was engulfed in the story. His story took place on these very exact streets here. He was from North Philadelphia, aka the Badlands. He conducted business on 4th and Indiana. I believe that's where his whole story started. But we're gonna go take a quick drive through the area that he used to run, and we'll take a look at the environment. Right now we're making a left on American and Lehigh. We are now on Lehigh Avenue. I'm gonna make a right on 3rd Street. We're on 3rd and Lehigh Avenue, turning up the 2700 block of 3rd Street. Now this neighborhood is known as the Fairhill section of the city, but it has the alter alias of the Badlands. It's a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood. Joey Perez himself is also Spanish, of Spanish descent. Right now he is a preacher and pastor. I believe he has a church on State Road. But his story was very, very intriguing to me as a youngster, because he talked about everything from Zulu Nation, which were gangs from back in the day, to days when, you know, he was young. I believe they were, you know, just teens or kids. They were like 11, 12 years old, and they broke into a police officer's house and took his firearm, and many, many, many stories from this very neighborhood right here. So we are now on Cambria. We're on the 3rd and Cambria intersection, 2800 block of 3rd Street, crossing over to the 2900 block of 3rd Street. This neighborhood over the years has suffered much crime and violence. Everything from shootings to robberies to theft, grand theft auto, etc., etc. In the summer, there tends to be a lot of fights. If, you know, it's a hot day and people don't come across an agreement, there'll be fights and whatnot. We're on Indiana Avenue, 3rd and Indiana Avenue. I'm gonna make a left right here just so that you guys can primarily, first and foremost, see his old area. We're passing Oriana Street. Oriana. We are now on 4th, approaching 4th Street, 4th and Indiana. So this is the block, and this is the area where, if you read in the book, his story started. Now, I'm sure he was all up and down the strip. The strip still to this day is a heavy drug corner, heavy drug avenue, drug strip. On my left-hand side, we're on Lawrence Street at the intersection of Lawrence and Indiana. You see an ice cold beer distributor? Well, about 3 days ago, a gentleman was shot here. We're gonna make a left right here at this little mini market. Yeah, gentleman was shot here, and there's a reward. It's actually on YouTube, on the Philadelphia Police Department YouTube page. They actually have the surveillance footage from right here, and there's a $20,000 reward for information leading to that. But that just happened right here. Back in the day, this whole area was plagued with drugs. As you can see, we just drove by some people over there that were nodding out from substance abuse. It's a snowy day, so there's not that many people out, but a lot of the residents in this neighborhood, some of them are lifelong residents. Most of them are lifelong residents. Occasionally there'll be people that move out, and then new people will move in. You can see we have a gentleman in front of us pushing a shopping cart. Let's see, does it look like he has scrap metal? I don't know. Yeah, it looks like he does have some sort of scrap metal. You go and you take that to the scrap yard to make a couple bucks. We're on Lawrence and Cambria. Lawrence and Cambria. Pretty much Lawrence, Lithgow, 4th Street. This person right here on the Odyssey was about to take the stop sign and take us along with him. Yeah, so this whole strip right here. Oh, check out that RX-7, guys. Beautiful car. That was the car I learned how to drive stick in. A 1985 Mazda RX-7. We're passing Lithgow. Yeah, this whole strip right here was like bad. It's not as bad. I mean, like I said, you come out in the summer, you'll still see some activity. But when I was born, I heard it was a lot worse. I was born in 88, and to my knowledge, Mr. Joey Perez ran these streets when he was, I believe, like, I wouldn't say his age, I would say, because I know he started getting into that life at an early age, but the years, I would say like early 80s. I believe like 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. I wasn't born until 88, so I wouldn't be able to, you know, recollect true memories, but I'm sure people who were lifelong residents of this area know of the name. Yeah, some of the close encounters, he said he almost lost his life several times. He lost his brother was killed. People around him were falling like flies, you know? And one day he said he heard a voice in his head. I recall that part. He was working there in a garage and he heard a voice call down to him. Yeah, guys, so powerful. Now today, this guy is a pastor, you know, preaching the word. I don't follow him on a regular basis. I'm actually doing this tour because I did mention him about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, briefly, I think, passing through this neighborhood. But I know Philadelphia has different quote-unquote gangsters that ran the streets at different eras, at different periods of time. I'm sure West Philly got its own gangsters. I'm sure, of course, South Philly got its own gangsters, the Italians and all of that. So, yeah, but this is a gangster from this hood, 3rd and Indiana. And he also, to my knowledge, was affiliated somehow, some way with Zulu Nation, which was back in the day a prominent gang over here in Philly also. So, all right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go around. We're gonna pass this once again. In love and memory of Johnny on my right hand side. There's a rest in peace mural, and on my left hand side, I didn't mention that to you guys, but there's 2 people painted on the wall. You see them? One of them, his name is Gilly. The other one, his name is Pookie. I ain't ever know Pookie personally. I believe I've seen him around several times, but I actually knew who Gilly was because Gilly actually went to the same school as me. So yeah, and I think my wife may have been in elementary school with him, if I'm correct, something of that nature. So yeah, I did know who Gilly was. But on that same wall, there was like 6 or 7 cemetery stones that were painted. We're on the 2900 block of Lawrence Street. Now, to my knowledge, from a previous commenter, they also told me that Drama B2R used to live on this block back in the day. I actually just did a Drama tour. I didn't cover this area for his tour, but go figure that he was actually from the same neighborhood as Joey Perez. So you see, we got 2-story homes, a couple porches, a couple awnings. But on this block, if you want a porch, you pretty much have to pay for it. You have to get some contractors to come in. We have Joe Elvin grocery store on my left-hand side. We're at Somerset and Lawrence. Somerset has been a pretty hot strip for many years. Pretty popular drug avenue. We're passing Julio de Burgos Bilingual Middle Magnet School on my left-hand side. That school is dedicated to Julio de Burgos, the poet. We're now approaching Lehigh Avenue. We're going to make a right on Lehigh Avenue. We have the 54 bus passing us. So Joey Perez, in that book that he wrote, he mentioned having gang wars on this avenue right here on Lehigh Avenue. We're on Orkney, passing Orkney, the 2700 block of Orkney and Lehigh. Yeah, he also mentioned him having like gang wars out here, and I picture the street. The street's huge. This is a large street, and I'm thinking like, wow, like gang wars out here. Like, I can't imagine that, because especially since in 2020, for the last 20 or 30 or so years, to my knowledge, there hasn't been much gang activity. Like, we don't really rep gangs over here. You know, guys might rep their hood. They might rep like, yo, I'm from 5th and West, or I'm from A and, you know, Ontario or wherever, but they don't normally like rep like a gang, like a little clique. I mean, unless they're like their own little local clique, like DSP, D4W, HCP. Those are, you know, Hancock and Cambria Posse, Dolphin Street Posse, etc., etc. There's like little cliques, or like a little graffiti squad, you know, like ESC, Every Second Counts, IAS, In All Spots, etc., etc. But they're not necessarily gangs up to gang activity. So what Joey Perez was up to, he was up to gang activity when I guess gangs were prominent in Philadelphia. I wasn't alive to see that era. We're on Somerset, 5th and Somerset. This is somewhat of what you can call like a shopping district. This whole avenue has businesses on the left and the right hand side, mainly mom and pop or family owned businesses. We are now passing 5th and Cambria Street, 5th and Cambria. We're gonna go on our right hand side. If we go left, you'll end up getting deeper into the Badlands. I actually got family that lives more on the left-hand side in the heart of the Badlands, but we're not going to go there for the purpose of this tour. We are now passing 5th and Indiana Avenue. There was actually, I also briefly mentioned this, another larger drug dealer in this neighborhood that was on, I believe, a BBC episode on YouTube a couple years ago, I think 9 years ago. And he was out there on that corner, and he used to run this strip, and they did an interview on him. He spoke briefly, and I think shortly after they used the footage to indict him. So I hear that he's locked up, but I never knew him personally, but I did see that special. We're on Orkney Street, Orkney. I believe we are currently on Clearfield. Let's make this right here. Gonna make a right. We're now on Lawrence. Driving down Lawrence. This block still has some pretty good activity. To my knowledge, this was a block of Mary Jane. I don't know what other products they used to distribute out here. I'm only talking about in the last 10, 15 years. They probably did have other products out here, but that never interested me. So the only thing I knew of was Mary Jane. On my right hand side, it looks like the gentleman is holding what looks like it could be his daughter. And he's talking to somebody in the vehicle. I don't know if it's the daughter's mom or family member or something. But he's having a brief conversation with him. Looks like there's a bunch of kids in the van also. Yeah, I guess he passed her back over. Yeah, he's waving to the little girl. Maybe that's like his daughter. He just wanted to wish her, you know, farewell. So now we're gonna see this ice cold beer from another angle. As you can see, we're coming down Lawrence, and you can see the Gilly and Pookie painting mural on my left-hand side. Yeah, they just did a shooting here a couple days ago. That book that man wrote was pretty powerful for me to remember up into my 30s. I'm telling you, like I proudly read that book back to back. Like I was almost addicted to his story. I think because it touched so close to home, because I'm only like 4 or 5 minutes walking distance from here, and I was actually born right up the block. If we kept going straight up Lawrence, there's a store that my pop used to have back in the day, which if it wasn't for that store, he would have never met my mom. So because that store existed, I was born, you know what I mean? So it actually holds a piece of my story. Let's make a right here. We're gonna make a right. I believe we are currently on 3rd Street. I could be wrong. Let me check once we get to the corner. But this little square area that I'm taking you guys through was pretty much very close to Joey Perez. And, you know, I'm sure he had stakes in all these blocks. Now, this is 4th Street. I do apologize. This is 4th Street. I should have knew better, right? Take a spin around, passing Frank's Bar on my left hand side, and we got Julio de Burgos on my right hand side. We are on 4th and Lehigh Avenue. On my left hand side, you guys see there's a Popeye's chicken. That used to be a Churchy's chicken, and I don't know what it was before Churchy's chicken. But I was old enough to remember when it was a Churchy's chicken. Church's. I think it was another chicken joint. I just can't think of the name right now. We're now on the 300 block of Lehigh Avenue. On my right hand side, there used to be a bar that used to be pretty popping as far as substances. You can pretty much get like a wide variety of items from that bar, but they knocked the bar down. This Rite Aid that we just passed on my right hand side, somebody just got shot there yesterday morning, 5 a.m. I don't know what's his status update. I don't know if he passed away, but I know yesterday at 5 a.m., early in the morning, they shot him right in front of the Rite Aid. Yeah. We're on American Street, American Lehigh. I'm gonna make a left right here on Plaza Americana. I'm gonna make a left right here. We have the Plaza Americana on my right, Lehigh Wick office, wine and spirit shop, Plaza Beer, Isla Velda. I believe that's Latin cuisine and bar and lounge. The Pastrana family owned that. My uncle used to do some bodyguard work for the Pastrana family back in like the 80s. My uncle Jose that passed away, his name was Mumu, nickname Mumu. Yeah, to my knowledge, he used to be Pastrana's bodyguard back in the day. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to go up Indiana, and then we are going to come down 4th Street so you guys can actually see Mr. Joey Perez's block. On my left hand side, we have Pan American Academy. That's a school. It's, I believe, by Congreso. It's called the Trujillo Center. Okay. My right hand side, we got some private parking for Pan American Charter School. That van that just went by, it's called Clip. That's the city of Philadelphia's graffiti removal program. They have staff that go around and paint over the graffiti. All right, we are back on Indiana. However, we're gonna make a right on 3rd Street. This is 3rd Street. We're gonna make a right, and then we're gonna come down 4th Street. But a lot of these older gentlemen you see out here, they're probably from the era of Joey Perez. I won't be surprised if they know him personally, you know what I mean? We're passing Mayfield. We are now passing Elkhart. We are now on Gurney Street. I apologize. That was not Clearfield we was on earlier. That was Gurney. Unless Gurney cuts into Clearfield. We'll find out once we get to the corner. Because this is an angle block. Passing Oriana Street. On my right hand side, there's train tracks. If you keep going, like if you go down, if you go past that gate right there, there's train tracks down there. But you're not really supposed to be trespassing. All right, we are going to make a left right here. We are on 4th Street. So this is Joey Perez's block. Once gangster, now pastor. He lived to tell his story. That's the name of his book. Joey Perez, I Live to Tell About It. I'm gonna go slow, let this guy ride off on his bicycle. Meanwhile, you guys can look at the area. 4th and Indiana, the famous strip. Yeah, some of these corners, to my knowledge, they were like $25,000 a day corners. Yeah, really, really popular avenues to distribute products and make money back. Back in the day, I heard stories about, you know, the dealers having, you know, several cars, a whole half a block full with cars. My uncle, who used to deal back in the day, I had a couple uncles that used to deal in the game around this neighborhood, a couple blocks up on like Hope Street and all of that. And I remember them telling me that back in the day, the way it was, you know, if the police came to see you and they told you to get off the corner because you weren't supposed to be loitering, as a dealer, as a person who sold substances, you would have several different jumpsuits inside your trunk, like Adidas sweatsuits with different Adidas sneaks or whatnot. And when they told you to get off the corner, if we see you again, you know, we're gonna pick you up. They'll go in the trunk, switch up clothes, change up the whole tire, and go right back out of there. Yeah, that's how it was back in the day. They said back in the day in Philadelphia, you didn't need insurance. You didn't pretty much need an inspection sticker. You didn't pretty much need, they weren't that hard on registration. We're passing Lithgow Street, the 2800 block of Lithgow. We are now passing Lawrence Street. Yeah, they said that you didn't really need none of that. Like license, like if you got pulled over with a license, it wasn't that bad. You know how PPA now gives you tickets? And if you get a ticket, they will give you, like if they give you 2 or 3 tickets and you don't pay them, they'll give you warnings. But if you continue to neglect them, they'll boot you. Back in the day, that boot system did not exist. They did not boot vehicles. So all of that is pretty much new stuff. All right, we are back up 5th Street, passing Iglesia Sinai on my left-hand side. That was another church. You'll see a lot of Spanish churches in this area. Lamboy Furniture, that looks like an old furniture spot. Jerry's Clothing. I know a lot of females used to go to Jerry's. But this whole avenue, this whole strip over here is usually pretty popular when it comes to drugs, you know? There's a lot of money to be made in this area. Wow, that dude over there with the shopping cart, I actually went to school with him. Wow. Okay, we are now on Reese Street. Yeah, we can go down Reese, and all these areas all had their prime. They all had their time of you know, popularity. But if anybody has any experience and knows about the story and knows how it was back in the day as far as competition, I didn't know, you know, how blocks ate with each other. I don't know if they ate or if they competed, you know? Do you eat or do you compete? You know, was everybody trying to get money back in the 80s, or were people trying to compete? I feel more or less like the last 10 years or so, it was more of like competition between strips. I don't know how it is or how it was back in the day, but yeah. We're going to end this off at 9th Street. Let's go up 9th. Matter of fact, let's go up 8th Street. We are currently on Indiana and Franklin. We got a couple of the old heads out here. I call them OGs, but you can call them old heads. We got a Toyota 1.8 on my left-hand side for all you car enthusiasts. Look, check it out. This is how they hold parking in Philly. You got to put anything in your parking spot. You got to use a cone. They got a little a Rite Aid bin. That's one of them bins that be behind Rite Aid. They took it to hold their parking. We're on 8th in Indiana. All these strips was bad, y'all. They was real bad. Now, you could probably still find some stuff, but like, you know, it's more or less like you got to know someone to know someone. There'll be a couple groups out here on the corners or whatnot, you know. But if you look funny, if you look like a cop, then they're not going to answer you. They ain't going to serve you. But if you look good, like you look like you know, good money, then they're going to serve you, or they're going to recommend you to who you can be served by. All right. So this will conclude today's small tour of Joey Perez's neighborhood. I'm sorry I didn't provide tons and tons of facts about Joey Perez, but I just wanted to plant the seed in your mind. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you can get notified when a future video drops. Please leave a comment when the video is finished. And if you want to go the extra mile, share this video with a friend. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. This is tuning out. Have a good day.